There are so many gems inside of Diablo Immortal that we just don't know which ones to use. You don't know what all of them do, and you don't know which legendary gems are worth investing in and which aren't. So today, I'm gonna break down every single legendary gem inside of this game. We're gonna start off with 5-star gems, drop down the 2-star, and then even cover the 1-star gems that are worth using inside of the game. So for the rating, our top gems are gonna be getting an S rating, and the worst ones will be all the way down at the bottom of the tier list with an F. So let's dive in and see which gems you should be using right now in Diablo Immortal. Now, obviously, 5-star gems are going to result in more gem resonance over time. Their ability to gain resonance is just higher than a 2-star or a 1-star gem. So for this video, we're not going to be focusing in on resonance. I'm going to be looking at the actual attributes of the gem and let you know if I think they are worth using or if they're absolute trash. And of course, some of these are class specific, so I'll do my best to give you a general overview. We're gonna start out with Void Spark 5-star gem. This one, dealing damage, conjures a Void Spark for 6 seconds. While the Void Spark is active, dealing damage has a 30% chance to unleash lightning that chains to up to 8 enemies, dealing 45% base damage plus 446 to each enemy. Lightning strikes can only trigger every 1 second, and this can only happen for every 20 seconds. Solid gem, it's a damage dealer. I like it. I'll go ahead and give this one a B tier on the list. Frozen Heart 5-star gem. When you take damage, you activate a frigid shield for 6 seconds that chills enemy attackers and absorbs damage equal to 150% of your base damage, plus 1,458. Cannot gain frigid shield more often than every 20 seconds. This one is great for PvP. I actually like it quite a bit, and it's an A tier gem for me. The newest gem inside of the game as of right now, Maw of the Deep 5-star gem. Dealing damage, conjures a whirlpool at the enemy's location that pulls nearby enemies to its center. After 2 seconds, a massive sea monster erupts from the whirlpool, dealing 140% base damage, plus 1,701 to all nearby enemies. This one can't happen more than every 20 seconds. I hate the 20-second cooldown on some of these. Another one here that I'm going to be giving a B tier to. Spiteful Blood 5-star gem. Taking damage while below 50% life causes Spiteful Blood to surge through you for 4 seconds, increasing your damage done by 4% and making you invulnerable to primary attacks from other players. Spiteful Blood cannot trigger more often than once every 20 seconds. Remember, all of these gems, these stats, this 4% making you invulnerable will only go up over time as you rank the gem. I think Spiteful Blood is fantastic, especially for PvP. We're going to give this one an A tier. Starfire Shard 5-star gem. When you deal damage, you have a 30% chance to rain meteorites in an area that knocks back enemies, dealing 200% base damage plus 2,000 plus in total. Can't occur more every 20 seconds. I like this one just because of the 200% and the more damage. I'm giving this one, Starfire Shard, an A tier. Gloom Cask 5-star gem. Your primary attack unleashes an aspect of gloom for 6 seconds, during which time your primary attacks will trigger gloom blades that deal 30% base damage plus 275. Can't occur more often than every 20 seconds. I love Gloom Cask. There's so much that we could do to pair with this to make it strong. We're going to give Gloom an A tier. Hellfire Fragment 5-star gem. Using a skill conjures 3 hellfire blazes around you that seek out enemies within 6 yards, exploding on them, dealing 45% base damage and 510 to all nearby enemies. Can't happen every more than 20 seconds. I'm actually wearing this gem right now just for fun. It's not the strongest. It is a fun gem, but as far as its actual capability and damage that it deals, I'm going to have to give it a B tier. Concentrated Will. Using a dash skill, calls a guardian angel to your aid, unleashing a blast of holy light in your direction, dealing 55% base damage and 547. This one can happen every 6 seconds, which thank God it's its saving grace. Now, there are dash skills associated with every class. I could see this one doing really well with a class like the Monk in particular, but it is one of the, in my opinion, one of the worst 5-star gems. I don't like when you have to perform a certain action to get the result from the gem. We're going to give Concentrated Will a C tier out of the 5 stars. Swenson's Haunting. When you defeat an enemy, a dark beast attacks nearby enemies, dealing 50% of base damage and 486. Can occur more often than every 6 seconds. Its saving grace again is the 6 seconds rather than 20, but notice you have to defeat an enemy for the beast to arise. So if you're going against a boss and just going against that one target, nothing will trigger Swenson's Haunting. That's its downfall. If you're doing farming in the open world, taking down a bunch of enemies, well then yeah, you have some extra damage dropping every 6 seconds. This one's okay. So I'm gonna give it a B tier. Bottled Hope 5-star gem. When you use a skill to grant a buff, it increases the damage and movement speed of the target by 8% for 6 seconds, and this can occur more often than every 20 seconds. This is a fantastic gem for all classes. Now, this isn't really exciting because it's not dropping damage on everything, but as you notice, if you rank it up, it's gonna then cool down your skills by 1.5% as well, and even more on top of that. This is one of the better gems inside of the game that I absolutely love and use myself. Bottled Hope is an S tier gem. Echoing Shade 5-star gem. Your attacks have a 15% chance to summon a shadow clone for 8 seconds that attacks nearby enemies with one of your primary attacks. And then you could upgrade it to get 2 shadow clones. I actually love the Echoing Shade, and no, not just because of its name. It's very fitting, I know, but it's actually really fun. You have clones of yourself going around dropping more damage. It's a gem I used to use. I stopped using it, and I actually wish that I still had it and used it to this day. Maybe not one of the best gems inside of the game, but a lot of fun, and it's a damage dealer. I'm gonna give Echoing Shade an A tier. Blood-Soaked Jade 5-star gem. Overall, the most expensive gem, the least available on the market because of how good this one is. Increases all damage you deal up to 8% while at full life, with a minimum bonus of 4% while at low life. Increases your movement speed by 10% as well, and then you take even decreased damage when you're below 50% life as well. This is the best gem in the game. It's an S tier gem, and it probably will always be. Blessing of the Worthy. When you take damage, you have a 20% chance to unleash Retribution on all nearby enemies, dealing damage equal to 12% of your current life. This one can't happen more than every 20 seconds. And then for after 6 seconds after unleashing Retribution, you take 4% decreased damage, which is nice. This one is really good for PvP, but again, you have to take damage to give the Retribution. I prefer, specifically when using a ranged class where maybe you're able to stay back and not take damage, I prefer that you don't have to take damage to have the effect of the gem. Blessing of the Worthy, though, it is a solid gem. I'll go ahead and I'll give it, between A and B on this one. We'll give it a B tier. Seeping Bile 5-star gem. Your attacks have a 4% chance to poison enemies, inflicting 25% base damage plus 263 every second for 6 seconds. The poison spreads to nearby enemies if the victim dies. Cannot affect the same target more than once every 20 seconds, but it also will decrease movement speed of enemies at level 3 and so on. A very good 5-star gem. Not the best, very good. This is between an S and an A tier for me. It honestly could be placed in either, but I'll give it an A tier right now. Howler's Call 5-star gem. Your primary attack has a 10% chance to conjure a spirit wolf that inflicts 150% base damage and 1458 to all enemies. Again, 20 seconds every time it can happen. And then you can stun enemies as well as you rank it up. Howler's Call is a decent gem. It's a damage dealer again. I'll give this one a B tier. Chip of Stoned Flesh 5-star gem. When you cause an enemy total loss of control, you can inflict an explosive curse upon them. When the curse expires, the enemy will explode for 5% of all damage taken during its duration, up to a maximum of 150% of your base damage. This can't happen more than every 20 seconds, and then enemies afflicted with the explosive curse also take 6% increased damage at rank 3 of the gem. It's a solid gem, it's a decent gem, it's a B tier gem. Phoenix Ashes, the final 5-star gem, prevents fatal damage and then grants a shield for 6 seconds that absorbs damage equal to 450% of your base damage. Can't occur more often than once every 180 seconds. That's where the downfall is of this gem. And then when you get it to rank 3, when the shield expires, it heals you for 20% of the remaining value. My issue here is that massive cooldown. There are other ways to prevent fatal damage inside of the game, and to have to rank up a 5-star gem to achieve that, and to have it only work once every 3 minutes, which is essentially 2 times in a Battlegrounds match, it doesn't seem worth it to me. If this cooldown were brought down to 60 seconds, I would say this is a S tier gem. But it is not. The cooldown is so low, it takes so long that I'm knocking it all the way down to a B tier. So that's it for all the 5-star gems. Next, we're going to be moving on to all of the 2-star gems. But also, keep in mind, it's worth noting, it takes a lot longer to upgrade 5-star gems than 2 stars. If you are a free-to-play player, it's going to take you forever to rank one of these up. It's a massive grind. So something else worth noting and thinking about are, what does it cost to purchase these gems? As you can see, if we're looking at the most popular, strongest gem in the game, first of all, there's not a lot of availability. But even for a 2-star, it's 114,000 platinum, 119, that's actually quite high, but maybe the lowest you'll get it is 64,000 platinum for a 2-star. But if we go take a look at a gem like Concentrated Will, we'll see that here, you can get these ones a lot less expensive. It's not as good of a gem. If you're going for resonance, you really want to make sure that you're going to probably try and do it with a gem that's going to cost less to make all of that progress. Zwenson's Haunting is another example, one that's a little bit easier to upgrade because of the availability and the lower pricing for platinum on each of these gems. Is just something to keep in mind when you're looking at 5-star gems and when you're trying to figure out which ones are the ones that you really want to hyper focus on. Now, it's worth noting, I'm not comparing all of these on the same scale. When I give 5-star gems a ranking, that is for all of the 5 stars. When I give 2-star gems a ranking, that's for all of the 2 stars. I'm not ranking them all on the same scale because they are not all on the same level. So when we do our 2-star gems, I'm ranking all of the 2 stars amongst all of their peers, the other 2-star gems, which ones are the top ones and which ones are the worst. Not comparing directly to the 1 stars or the 5 stars. Starting off with the 2-star gems, we are going to go with the Fervent Fang. Note, the Fervent Fang is not available in the shop. It's not findable in the game. You get this from the free and from the paid battle pass. You also get it from the Boon of Plenty and sometimes maybe from an event inside of the game, possibly. But these are very difficult to get. The reason being, it's just that one gem that's kind of behind some kind of a paywall, although you do get a few for free every season on the free battle pass. Keep that all in mind. Here, each time you deal damage to an enemy, that enemy now takes 0.80% increased damage from your attacks, up to a maximum of 10 stacks of 8%. As you rank it up, increases all damage you deal to elite and boss monsters by 1.5%, so it does get stronger as you go. Fervent Fang is a great gem. It just drops damage, and it gets so much better as you upgrade it. Actually, let me show you an example real quick. So I'm wearing the Fervent Fang currently, and I have it up to a rank 9, and you'll see each time you deal damage to an enemy, that enemy now takes 2% increased damage from your attacks, up to a maximum increase of 20% based on 10 stacks. Also increases damage you deal to elite bosses and monsters by 6%. There's an example of how the gem will look different, and all of these gems look different as they're upgraded. And this one I don't even yet have to max level. Again, remember, this one is only available through the methods I spoke of. You can't buy it in the shop. This is an S tier 2-star gem. Viper's Bite, one of my favorite 2-star gems. Damaging enemies poisons them with a Viper's Venom, causing them to take 16% base damage plus 120 damage every second for 6 seconds. This can't occur to the same target more often than once every 20 seconds. And again, as you rank it, it's going to also reduce enemies' attack speed by 1.5%. Here we're looking at an S tier 2-star gem. Mother's Lament 2-star gem. When you deal damage, you have a 20% chance of gaining Maternal Disdain, increasing your critical hit chance by 12% for 6 seconds. Can't occur more than every 20 seconds. And then, when you upgrade to 3, when Maternal Disdain ends, you release a bloody spike towards enemies, dealing 13.5% base damage to enemies hit, and also cause them to bleed. I love this gem. It's going to be another S tier 2-star for me. Ironbane 2-star legendary gem. Your channeling skills have a 10% chance to dissolve enemy armor for 6 seconds, increasing the damage they take by 5%. Can't occur more than every 20 seconds, and then upgraded to rank 3, the dissolve effect also reduces the movement speed. Decent gem here. Definitely works with some classes based on how you have yourself built out. I'm going to give Ironbane an A tier. Igneous Scorn 2-star gem. Your critical hits cause explosions that deal 40% base damage plus 486 to enemies nearby. This can happen once every 6 seconds. At 3, after triggering an explosion, your damage is increased by 2%. This is not a bad gem. It's actually quite good. Not often used inside of the game, so I'm going to have to go ahead and give this one a B tier. Pain Clasp 2-star gem. Increases damage dealt by 8% to enemies suffering from continuous damage effects. This means if they're burning, if they're poisoned. And then, when an enemy suffering from continuous damage is within 10 yards, your movement speed is increased by 1.5, making this even stronger for melee, crusaders, monks, barbarians. This is an S tier 2-star gem that you're going to see in everyone's build. Purseling 2-star gem. You have a 15% chance when attacked to release a burst of light that blinds your nearby enemies, reducing their vision and causing total loss of control for 1.5 seconds. Can occur more often than every 20, and you deal a 3.5 increased damage to blinded enemies at rank 3. It's a decent one, not my favorite. I'm actually going to go ahead and give this one a C tier. Volatility Shard 2-star gem. When you defeat an enemy, you trigger a volatile explosion dealing 30% base damage plus 365 to all nearby enemies. This one can happen every 6 seconds, which is nice, and at 3, your damage is increased by 2% for 2 seconds after the explosion. Not bad. Volatility, I can give it a B tier. The Abiding Curse 2-star gem. Your attacks have a 15% chance to curse enemies, reducing their attack and movement speeds by 35% for 2.5 seconds. Can't curse the same target more than once every 20 seconds, and then damage dealt to curse targets is increased by 2.5 at rank 3. This one's all right as well. I'm going to go and give this one a C tier. I'm not in love with just slowing down the enemies. Lightning Core 2-star gem. Your primary attacks and movements slowly charge up with electricity. When you're fully charged, your primary attack will release a chain of lightning dealing 90% of base damage and 1,134. Can occur more often than every 20 seconds. After the lightning is thrown, all damage you deal is up by 3%. It's a decent one. It's one of the most staple, oldest gems inside of the game. Not bad, also not often used. We'll give it a C tier. Cutthroat's Grin 2-star gem. Gain 8% increased critical hit chance when you attack from behind. I'm not going to go around and try and figure out where the front or behind is of my enemies. Deals 1% increased damage when attacking from behind at rank 3. I gotta give this, I really don't love it. I'm gonna give it a D tier. If you wanna go and really always try and get to the back of your bosses or the enemies, sure. But I don't think it's worth it for the improvement of critical hit chance. Don't love this gem. Unity Crystal. Let me redo that. Unity Crystal 2-star gem. You and all party members within 6 yards take 50% reduced damage for each nearby party member. And then at 3, each nearby party member increases damage done by 0.3. This is good for PvP, for Heliquary, things like that. It has its place. It's not the worst, not the best. I'll give it a B tier. Battle Guard 2-star gem. Decreases all damage you take by 8% from enemies within 3 yards. Then, at 3, you move unhindered through enemies while life is below 15%. This is great in my opinion if we're going for some defensive elements to your build. Damage you take 8%, especially if you're, again, one of those close range attackers. Even if you're a demon hunter or a wizard at range and someone gets close to you, you'll take less damage when close. I like Battle Guard. I'll give it an A tier. Bloody Reach increases all damage you deal by 2% for every 2 yards between you and your enemy hit, up to a maximum of 8%. Then you have an increased movement speed chance at 3 stars. This one is good for ranged classes, for people that are wizards, demon hunters, maybe even a blood knight. But for someone like a barbarian, a crusader, a monk, or someone that's up in your face, this is actually a terrible gem. With that being said, for ranged classes, it's okay. I would give it a B tier. The Hunter. Instantly heal for 40% of your base damage and 567 when you defeat an enemy. Can occur more every 20 seconds. And it increases your attack speed by 4% every 3 seconds. Again, you look at this initially and you're saying, okay, you'll instantly heal for 40%. That's really great. But every 20 seconds, I don't know. I don't love this one. It's okay. I would give it a C tier. Follower's Burden 2-star gem increases all damage you deal by 1% for each summon you control up to a maximum of increase of 6%. And at 3, decreases all damage taken by your summons. This is going to be used if you're a necromancer. If you are a necro, this is an S tier gem. This is a gem that you have to use because it's going to directly buff your summons. If you're anyone else, you're not really interested in it because it's not going to do much for you. So I would put this one at a C tier for all classes except for a necromancer, who would have it at an S tier. Power and Command 2-star gem. Power and Command alternate states every 9 seconds. Power increases your primary attack damage by 8%, and Command increases your skill damage by 8%. And at 3, you have a 7.5% chance to dispel a negative effect on each time Power and Command states alternate. This is actually a pretty good one. Another gem that's been in the game since the beginning. The bad thing is, you don't control the alternating. Every 9 seconds, it's going from your primary attack to your skills, to your primary to your skills. So it's always flopping back and forth. You don't have control of it, but it is giving you an 8% increased attack on both your skills and primary attack. So I like this gem. I would actually put it in an A tier and one that I consider using. So that was it for all of the 2-star gems inside of the game. We're going to move on over now to the 1-star gems. And remember, we are now comparing the 1-stars to all the other 1-stars. We are not comparing them to the 2-star gems or the 5-star gems. 1-star gems for free-to-play players or low spenders are the easiest gems to get to max level, which can then allow you to awaken your slots inside of the game. So if you're someone that is a 0 spender and you want to have awakened slots, well, actually you have to spend to awaken your slots. So if you're a low spender and you want to awaken your slots, 1-star gems are where you're going to start. Then you'll move on over to some 2-star gems here and there as time goes on. And then maybe in the end game, 1 or 2 5-stars. Unrefined Passage, the newest 1-star gem in the game. Damage you take while moving is reduced by 5%. And at 3, you have a 1% chance to be immune to an attempt to slow you. This is actually pretty good. If you're a class like a Crusader, a Monk, a Barbarian that's always running and moving, or a Demon Hunter that's always strafing and moving and attacking, you're going to get more damage while moving. I like the gem. It's actually an A tier for me. Exigent Echo, 1-star gem. Besides the name being amazing, your block chance is increased by 10% for 6 seconds when you receive a critical hit. Can occur more than every 20 seconds. During the effect, damage received when blocking is reduced by 3%. If you're going for a defensive gem, if you want one defensive gem, this one is decent, but you do have to receive a critical hit to get the block chance. So it's all right. I would give this one a B tier. Blessed Pebble, 1-star gem, increases the duration of beneficial effects on you by 4%, increases your movement speed by 2% every 3 seconds when you get it to rank 3. This just means your skills and everything that you build around your essences lasts longer. If you're looking for increased uptime, meaning the ability for your skills to be alive and being used longer, Blessed Pebble is a way to do that. I love this gem. It's an S tier 1-star gem. Eye of the Unyielding, 1-star gem. Continual damage done is increased by 6%. And then the damage taken is reduced by 3. Not bad for continual damage, poison, burning, things like that. It's a decent gem. I would give it a B tier. Lowe's Focused Gaze increases damage done by your charge skills by 8%. And then charging speed is increased at rank 3, which is nice. So if you're using a class that charges stuff, then it's a great gem. For me, I hate charge skills. I just don't like them. So me personally, I would give this gem a D tier. Heartstone, the duration of your absorb shields are increased by 16%, and at rank 3, the absorb shields also reduce the duration of loss of control effects by 6%. Again, another defensive gem for you here. If you need some defense inside of your build, not a bad one to take a look at. I would give it a B tier. Freedom and Devotion, 1-star gem, increased duration of your summons by 8%, and the damage of your summons by 75%. Again, a D tier gem if you're anything but a necromancer, which then it would be an S tier gem. The Black Rose, 1-star gem. Each time you're attacked, you have a 10% chance to summon vines that immobilize the attacker for 1.1 seconds. This can only happen every 20 seconds. Chance to summon vines is increased by 13.5% at rank 3. I don't need my enemies immobilized. I will crush them even if they're moving. I don't love the gem. I'd give it a D tier as well. Nightmare Wreath, 1-star gem. You have a 10% chance when you defeat an enemy to cause other nearby enemies to flee for fear. Again, at 3, enemies feared by Nightmare Wreath take a 2% increased damage. This would be good if you're a class that is a glass cannon, a wizard, a demon hunter, something that needs to stay at range. But if you're anything else, I would say this is not a great gem. I'd give this one a C tier. Chain Death, 1-star gem, increases the damage of your attacks by 1.5% per target hit, up to a maximum of 4.5 at 3 targets. The bonus damage increases to a maximum of 4 targets at rank 3. It's a damage dealer, not the best damage dealer. There are better ones that we'll be getting into soon. I would give Chain Death probably a C tier. Everlasting Torment, 1-star gem. I am wearing this gem right now. Your critical hit inflicts agony, dealing 10% base damage, plus 122 every 6 seconds. This can happen more than every 20 seconds. Increases your attack speed for each enemy afflicted with agony. A really decent gem here. I like it. It just drops more on the critical hits. I'd give it an A tier. Mocking Laughter. Many think this gem is one to laugh at. You see what I did there? Dumb dad jokes. Your primary attack taunts non-boss monsters, forcing them to attack you for 2 seconds. It can't happen more than every 20. So why would you want things to attack you? You could take a 2% reduced damage from enemies taunted by Mocking Laughter. The only place where I could see this being good is if you have an invulnerable stage of like a Crusader or of a Barbarian. You have everyone attack you so your teammates can stay safe, but the gem is just not good. That's not the play style that most people would use. I would give this one, it's probably the worst gem. We'll give it an F tier. Seled's Weakening, 1-star gem, gains 6% increased damage for 30 seconds after killing an elite boss or monster. And then we have increased damage to you deal 2 elite bosses and monsters by 1%. I don't love it at all. Again, you have to beat something big to get the bonus. And you got a big bonus 60 seconds after killing an elite monster or boss, but you need the damage while trying to kill the elite monster or boss, not on the little stuff afterward. Seled's Weakening is a D tier gem. Berserker's Eye, 1-star gem, increases all damage you deal by 5.5%, but also increases the damage you take by 5%. And then at 3, critical hit chances increase by 0.5%. I'm wearing this gem. I actually love this gem. I'm not as worried about the damage I'm being taken, but increasing the damage we deal is massive. If you're looking for a 1-star gem to deal damage, this is the best one. This is an S tier 1-star gem. Trick Shot, 1-star gem. Your channeled skills consume energy 8% slower, and it decreases all damage you take by 5% while using a channeled skill at rank 3. Another really good one if you're utilizing channeled skills. I would give this an A tier. Pain of Subjugation, 1-star gem. You deal 5.5% increased damage to enemies suffering loss of control. Decreases all damage you take by 1% while suffering loss of control under your character. Loss of control. I don't love it. I'm gonna give it a C tier. Respite Stone, 1-star gem. You have a 0.55% decreased damage for every 10% your life is below maximum, up to a maximum of decrease of 5.5, and then you gain a 1.5 increased block chance while your life is at 50%. Again, if you're looking for something defensive, it's all right, not the best. I would give it a C tier. Defiant Soul. Each time you block an attack, you deal 64% base damage plus 777 to all nearby enemies, but this also can't occur more often than every 20, and it decreases all damage you take by 1.5 for 3 seconds after blocking. This one's also okay. Actually, I don't even like it. I'd give it a D tier. Carson's Invigoration, 1-star gem. Increases the speed of your primary attack by 5.5%, and then at 3, primary attack damage bonus is increased by 0.5. Speed is good, but it's definitely not the most desirable of the 1-star gems. We could give this one a B. And the last 1-star gem is the Zod Stone. Increases the duration of your ultimate skills by 16%. Increases the damage done by your ultimate at level 3 or rank 3 by 1.5. I love that you're getting a big bonus, but it only happens when you have your ultimate. Most of the time, you're not going to have your ultimate. Zod Stone, for that reason, is not good. Unless you save your ultimate for bosses, and that's the only time you want your 16%. I would say this one can go, and this one will be a D tier gem. Now, there are so many ways that we could build out our classes and utilize different gems inside of the game. You can use 5-star gems that you're planning on upgrading slowly over time, or you can go with 1-star gems that you'll be able to get to max level and awaken the slots so you can get more gem resonance and some additional attributes. No matter how you choose to build out your character, that is your custom build. There's great ones, there's bad ones, but the best part is it's fun to toy around with it and to see which is best for you, the way that you play the game. Enjoy playing Diablo Immortal, enjoy messing around with gems, and remember, you're never wasting anything when you're putting it into a gem. It can always be utilized to upgrade other gems, so have fun, mess around with it, and enjoy the game, and enjoy the gems. If you found this video useful, I actually put out a tier list of all the classes in the game a few weeks back. Go check out that video, and consider subscribing for daily Diablo Immortal videos.